All right, and I am live. Good morning, everybody. Today is Wednesday, July 15th, and today is my Monday, and also today is the last day. If you have not filed your taxes, this is the last day to file those taxes without incurring any type of penalty or interest. So, just wanted to put that out there. I'm a little late. I'm getting started a little late with my morning, but it's all good. I don't really supposed to be at the yard until 3 o'clock. I always like to get there a little early, so technically I'm still early, but it's late for me. Oh, let's see here. A lot of stuff has happened while I was off. I took some time off to spend with my daughter and my grandson because, like I said, they had been complaining that on my days off, I don't do anything but spend hours on the computer looking up stuff, researching for this YouTube thing. So I took the time to do things with them. Even though there's a lot of places, a lot of businesses that aren't open, I still find the time to find things to do with my family. So in this crazy time, don't forget to just get out of the house with your family and do something. It doesn't have to be something that you do in a public place like a restaurant or, going to a game or stuff like that you might be used to. Good morning, Ronald. But hey, take the family to the park, have a little barbecue or something like that. I do know that out here in Phoenix the parks are still open. So I try to do something like that with my family. Definitely my grandson still goes to the water park, out in Scottsdale. So he loves that about once every month or so. I like to take him over there. We don't go often, but I still like to take him, so that he can just get out of the house, break the monotony. I mean, walk around the mall. I mean, the malls are still open. You can get in with the mesh. You don't have to buy anything. And a lot of the food courts are open, so you can eat out in the food courts. I'm not saying, that, you should do it all the time, but at least try to get out of the house. Do something with your family. Even if it's just going to visit somebody, just get out of the house. Because I'm not going to lie, I was starting to go stir crazy myself. Just being in the house all the time. Yeah, you're not really meant to be in the house all the time, all the time. But in being in the house all the time, I have gotten a lot of things done around the house that really needed to get done. And also in being around the house all the time, you're around people that you care about. You have arguments with people in the house all the time because you're just there right up under each other. So I'm experiencing and going through all of that, and I'll be so glad when this crazy time is over. When things go back to normal. But oh, anyway, I was riding along here and I was just thinking about the younger generation. It's just something that goes on between the younger generation of women and the older generation of women. Well, the younger generation, period. I mean, it doesn't even have to be a gender specific because I go through some of the same stuff with my son. Hey, at Big Smee and Cremature. Yeah, we're on our grind in Cremature. Oh, I wish I could get ready for the gym at Big Smee, but the gyms are still closed out here. So I'm still working out at home and doing my 30-minute walks and stuff like that. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, I was talking about the younger generation. You know, um, I would say Gen X and up. I feel as if we are really, really failing. the younger generation as far as passing down wisdom, because I'm looking at a lot of the kids in this younger generation, and I'm not saying every kid, but and I call them kids because they're in their 20s, okay? But these kids of the younger generation, I'm going to get back on this subject again that I was on last week, because it's still weighing heavy on my mind, you guys. I'm looking at these kids of the younger generation, and it's just like, where is the motivation? Where is the motivation? Now, once again, this isn't everybody, so I'm not saying everybody's kid isn't motivated or whatever. But it seems like it's taken a long time for our children, especially, to pick a career or a career path and just kind of get along that path. It's just kind of difficult to watch. Ronald wants to know if I have a man. What does that got to do with anything? But anyway, I guess if I had one, I'd be getting more workout going. I'd be working out if I had a man, but I wouldn't be working out in the gym. I'd be working out in the bedroom. But yeah, I got a friend. I'll put it that way. Somebody that I'm not really serious about, but it is what it is. He's I. I think every woman has had that spot in her life where she's got that guy where he's just, he's I. All right, thank you, Ronald. I appreciate the compliments. Y'all, let me know if anybody's down there trolling. Please get them out of the chat room, because that throws me off of what I'm trying to talk about here, and I do like to talk about serious subject matters. But anyway, what was I thinking? I'm looking over here at the comments and getting thrown off and whatnot. I'm gonna stop looking at the comments for a while so I can get into what it is that I want to talk about here. But like I said, I feel as if I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the guidance in which these kids are getting now, but I do see that the younger generation, like I said, I do a lot of volunteer work for the community. I work with a lot of youth, and maybe because I'm only seeing the troubled youth, maybe that's the reason why I'm looking at it as it's a problem. But I'm looking at a lot of the youth, and I'm looking at how a lot of them are just really not focused, and you can't really tell them anything. It's like they want what they want, but they want it without having to take any of the advice that comes along with it. They want your help, but they don't want the advice. This is what I'm noticing from the younger generation. The younger generation is a generation of, I already know, just yeah, help me with this area or whatever, and I'll be on my way. And I've run into that quite a bit lately with some young people that I've been dealing with, and it's quite frustrating. To say the least, it is quite frustrating. That Bixie says, young people have no direction. Yeah, and that's what I'm pretty much seeing. I'm pretty much seeing the lack of direction, and not even the lack of direction, because when you try to direct them, they quickly shut you down and tell you to be quiet, and they already know. So it's kind of like, how do you help a generation of people that think they know everything, but they ain't lived no life yet? Well, I already know, I know. They shut you down real quick with the I know. And then they go off to fuck up everything in their life. And then when they fuck it up, they want somebody to fix it. but they knew everything. I know. I think Generation Y is the I know generation. Because that's all you hear them saying. I know already. And, I know that probably, we were like that when we were that age. Probably we were, in some ways. I can't say that I was all the way like that because when my parents talked, I did listen. But this new generation, they don't even listen the first time. It's kind of like you got to beat them, beat it into their head or something. I don't know. But I don't know. That's just something that I was just thinking. Ronald, Ronald said he wasn't, huh? Let me go around this little curve. I'm on my way to the yard. I'm running late. Late for me, that is. Looks like everybody wants to slow down and do 40 in the middle of the night. What is up with that? Yeah, I was raised to respect grown people too, Ronald. This truck right here is getting on my nerve. Oh, then he wants to get over right when I'm getting over. Wow. All right, I'm sorry, guys. I had to focus on my driving real quick because some funky stuff was going on out here on this expressway. All right, I'm about to take this exit. Okay, there we go. All right, so now I can get back to focusing on what I'm talking about here. I don't know what those two looked like. They wanted to pull each other over, or they were talking to each other. They were driving side by side, going 40 miles an hour. I had to get the hell away from them. All right, anyway. Yeah, so I enjoy dealing with the youth and just giving as much of wisdom as I can, and as much of my experience that I can share. I try to, but it's like I said, it's kind of difficult when you got these people that already know everything. That is This is the generation of I know. And it's kind of tough because you got to sit back and watch them run off, and because they're adults, you can't tell them what to do. You can't make them do what you know is right. So you just kind of standing off to the side, just hoping that things will turn out well. Hold on, y'all. I gotta go into this yard. She's gonna take the plate of my car real quickly. I am so sorry for starting late. Whenever I start late, I have to do this morning ride thing where I'm getting into the yard and it's kind of distracting just getting in. I probably should have waited until after I got myself situated in the truck instead of just jumping into the car, but it's okay. Yeah, these are adults, Ronald. Like I said earlier, these are people that are in their 20s and they're adults, but they're young adults. And it's kind of like, young adults in their 20s is kind of a hard time because to me they still act a little bit like they're teenagers. On the one hand, they know everything and they don't want any advice, but they want all the help in the world as far as money. It's really the money that they be wanting, but they don't want the advice that goes along with it at all. Get my bags here. And so I don't mind giving the advice, but don't come and ask me for money and then you don't want to listen to the advice as well. It's just kind of like, hey, give me what I want and I'm out of here type thing. And I don't have to listen to you because I'm grown, but I'm going to take the money and I'm going to mess everything up. And when I do, I'm going to come back to you and ask you to fix it, which is going to cost you more money. And that, my friends, is the cycle of life. All right, I'm walking across this here yard. I think I see my truck back there. But yeah, I had a good time this weekend. Like I said, I stayed off of Facebook to spend time with my family. And like I said, took my daughter, my grandson out. My daughter and I, since they have majority of the businesses closed out here in Phoenix, that's the hair salons, the nail salons, all that shit is closed. So we have to figure out how to do our own hair, do our own nails, and it is quite the adventure because I am so not the girly girl that knows how to do her own nails. But I've been learning. No, I'm not getting off, Ronald. I'm actually going to work. I wish I was getting off. I'll be crawling right back in the bed. Yeah, I heard it was gonna get bad again. All right, don't mind me. I'm over here at the truck. Grab my paperwork. Oh, I hate when I'm late getting to the yard. I feel all discombobulated here. Standing out here spraying this truck down. I don't know. I don't really have a topic or anything. Like I said, I spent majority of my 3 days off just relaxing and really not focusing on too much. I even turned the news off, just kind of focused in on just my little camp. All right, I'm just spraying down this truck before I take off and signing into my logbook. Oh, great. Give me just a few seconds here. Do this little wipe down, get everything. Because I definitely don't want to be riding up in here touching anything unsanitary. All right. There we go. Good morning, Afrocentric. I'm sorry you guys have to listen to me going through these little ministrations. And then I'm not very talkative this morning because I don't have a topic, guys. My morning rides are just basically me going off of my thoughts for the day. But actually, I had such a relaxing weekend. I don't really have any major issues going on. So it's been kind of love and gravy for me. But I will say this though, people that always seem to have a lot of drama going on and their message is always about gloom and doom, I kind of limit my viewership to those people because they always have tend to have too much going on, in my opinion. And I'm all about being positive and changing your life for the better and not trauma bonding and constantly reliving trauma and wearing it as a badge of honor. I think that the sisterhood is much, much more than that. I'm quite sure that we all don't just have trauma in our lives. I'm quite sure that, there are some sisters here that actually have a lot of successes in life. And so sometimes I do like to focus on the positive because, just like we've had heartaches and heartbreaks and different things of that nature in our lives, those things are inevitable, especially if you've ever been out here in the dating world or whatever. If you've never in your life had a heartache or a heartbreak, then you just ain't lived long enough. Some people experience heartache and heartbreak even in their marriages because their spouse might be cheating on them, or there might be some other things going on, trials and tribulations. That's life. Everything isn't a trauma. Now for me, an actual trauma is something devastating, like the loss of a loved one or violence, something of that nature would be traumatizing for me. And the loss of a love could be traumatizing, but like I said, that's part of life too. It's a part of life. And no matter how you think you prepare yourself, sometimes you're not going to be able to get away from that. It's kind of like when you see a little girl growing up and you know that she's going to break somebody's heart because she's going to be a heartbreaker, and somebody's going to break her heart. And there's really not a whole lot that you can do to prevent that from happening. But the only thing that you can do is you can control how you conduct yourself and what your reaction is to things that life throws at you, how you handle it. You can control how you handle it, but you can't shield yourself from life. And anyone telling you that they got the magic foolproof way for you to never get your heart broke, never go through anything in life, they're lying to you. Go in here and wipe this down. I'm almost done wiping everything down, guys. I get the steering wheel is the most important thing for me. Start my pre-trip. All right, almost got this here steering wheel done. Usually I could walk and chew gum at the same time, but it's kind of difficult. There we go. All right, I got it. One sec, guys. I'm gonna go over here. I keep forgetting that on the stream guard I can continue to talk and do other shit on my phone. Let's see here, clock in. All right, so we're gonna put this at 2:05 and hit OK. All right. This is all my stuff that I have to go through these little ministrations. Oh, thank you, Afrocentric. And maybe that's my downfall too, is that, I sit up here and I actually tell the truth as I know it because once again, I'm not spitting facts or anything right about now, but it's just been my experience. I do see a lot of women and men profiting off of trauma bonding, even though they talk about trauma bonding. That's exactly what they do day after day, is they rely on the same old people to enter their domain every day, and these same people are hurting over the same trauma that they never really got over. And none of these people on YouTube, by the way, are psychiatrists. They can only give you their perspective from from what they have experienced in their lives. And what I am seeing, though, as far as like in the women's sector, is I'm seeing a lot of hurt women in this sector that are in a constant frame of anger. And that anger is all the time pointed at the opposite sex because that person really has not gotten over their trauma. And I used to be like that once upon a time until I realized that it was getting me nowhere. Just being angry all the time for no reason. These mirrors all jacked up and out of whack here. Oh, good morning, no hypocrites. Oh, this is Raining Woman. I like the new screen name. No hypocrites. I like that. She says, yeah, Faith, the truth or what's true is rejected quite often in the black community. Yes, indeed. And that's the sad part about it. In the black community, we just like to keep the party going. We like to hear some things that sound good, or we want to hear things that we want to hear that kind of coincide with whatever trauma we've experienced in our lives with the opposite sex. It's mostly stuff that we go through with the opposite sex. And like I said, I used to be there. I've been there, done that, and it's over for me. I'm healed from my trauma. And you can tell a person that's completely healed from their trauma. And this is the other thing, folks, when you're getting this advice from people, it's okay, for people to talk about their past and things that hurt them in the past. But when you constantly see that person in a state of anger and constantly reliving the past, and all their stories are just gloom and doom, and it's just fuck the opposite sex, and all this type of stuff, that person ain't healed from shit. And it took me a long time to get to that spot, so I'm not blaming anybody for wherever they are in their healing process. Don't get me wrong. But a healing process is just that, it's a healing process. And anybody that is still healing, someone that's still suffering from the trauma that they may have just recently experienced, it's going to take years for them to get to a space where they're happy and where they can be okay with the opposite sex without going off on tangents and talking about I want to abort black male babies and all this other stuff. That's not words of a person that's healed. Okay, when people are talking like that, when they're constantly negative all the time, they're not healed. When a person can't be objective, they're not healed. Oh, hold on a second. Jessica X is in the chat. Amelia, who is Jessica X? I see no hypocrites here. No hypocrite says I'm not normally up as early in the morning, but I got up to use the restroom. As we all do, no hypocrites, as we all do. Raining womb man. No hypocrite says YouTube is a lot of people's therapy session, but unfortunately there are no trained therapists. But this is the most black people have in a lot of cases. This is true. And it's sad actually, because you can actually get professional help, especially if you have insurance. But a lot of us probably don't. Randy Woman says healing takes time that no one else can feel. Absolutely. Because I knew, I thought that I had moved on, from a lot of things that happened in my life. Like I said, I had experienced a really bad, it wasn't a bad breakup, but me and this person, we had been together for years. We raised children together. So it was almost like going through a bad divorce. And when you're with somebody for that long, it does, affect you. I don't care how cool you try to be about it. It does affect you. And even though I was the one that initiated the breakup, it still wasn't easy. It wasn't easy for me to come to the conclusions that I came to in life. Because, it was a lot of things that happened in the relationship, that, caused me to make the decision that I made. Not being happy, not being fulfilled, those things, the things that do matter at the end of the day, the incompatibility, those are things that do matter at the end of the day. and then me kicking myself in the butt for wasting my time, just allowing time to pass by with this person. And I should have realized a long time ago that it wasn't my thing. So sometimes traumas are self-inflicted traumas too, and sometimes you can be rather angry with yourself for a long period of time. But at the end of the day, you can't cry over spilt milk. It is what it is, and you have to learn how to forgive yourself and move on. No Hypocrite says even with insurance it's hard nowadays because most places make you call this hotline where somebody trained calls you, but nothing replaces being able to find someone you connect with. Exactly. Personally, I feel some of us need black therapists because YouTube people often don't get the depth of the pain. This is true. Nobody is going to actually know your pain like you do. And I do agree, trained therapists who understand what trauma is and understand what each person's situation is from a clinical point of view would be most likely better to help than a lot of these people on YouTube. A lot of these people on YouTube, they're just really in it for the money or for the fame or the notoriety or what have you. Or some of them have their own agendas because they've gone through some sort of trauma. They have an agenda to annihilate the opposite sex. I've seen a lot of that on YouTube too. And when it becomes a whole, campaign to just bash on the opposite sex, that's where I have to get off. You know, and I see a lot of these men, doing it. There's so much pain, and a lot of these guys they be having daughters of the opposite sex, but they're so against black women, black American women, but you have black American daughters. Your own daughters, your own mothers, the women in your family are exceptions. And it's the same thing with these women that get on here banging on the opposite sex. All men are shit except for the men that you raised or the men who raised you. Or sometimes, I've heard women, talk bad about the men that raised them. Just everybody can get it. And the person is so broken and unhealed and they're trying to lead something. And the thing about it is there you can't really be a leader with a divisive mindset. If your ideal of leadership is we're going to separate everybody, women from the men, this is a divisive mindset because nature does not allow for it. The opposite of love is apathy and not hate. And this hate indicates people are still going through trauma and that their heart is hurting. Yeah, I agree. And my heart goes out to people like that. No hypocrites. It really does because you can hear the pain, when these people are talking because they're so angry all the time. Like I listen to the men too, the male YouTubers, the ones that are always angry and yelling and screaming, and they want somebody to die, of the opposite sex. But they don't necessarily say they want them to die, but the anger and the vitriol is there. And then they, want to treat the opposite sex like a second class human being. And I just don't get down with that. Now more than ever, with the situation that we are finding ourselves in as a group in this country as black people, now more than ever, this gender warring thing is just totally not to our benefit. And I've been feeling this for a while now. I think the gender warring thing is stupid, and I've mentioned this on more than one occasion. Now, as much as I think that we need to be strategic about how we go about doing things as a group, it has to be a group consensus, though. It has to be a group consensus. But shout out to Water Sniper. I've been visiting his page quite a bit, and he has been banging hard on the whole black love thing. Every day he is posting new wedding proposals from black people, black men who have actually taken a knee for black love, so to speak. So they're dropping down on their knees and they're proposing to black women. And every day it's a different couple that he's posting that has done this. And these are recent posts, good uplifting stuff. Water Sniper is one of the brothers that stays, in an uplifting mindset. So going to his page, if you want some upliftment, if you want to see some black love, you would definitely want to visit Water Sniper's page. And he's also always uplifting black women. So even with all this hate and gender warring, in these YouTube streets, he still finds it in his heart to be uplifting. And so I, have to take the time to appreciate that because you don't see that every day. There are a lot of people that really, really fall into the whole he man woman hater or he woman man hater club, either or. Afrocentric says, I'm a man and I know we as men have taken women for granted and complain about not being able to find good women. We as men are hypocritical. Wow, that's huge. That's huge because not a lot of men will actually admit that. So shout out to Afrocentric. Definitely. You're right up there with Water Sniper. And that's what we need more of. We do need more people to have a balanced outlook. Like you can still, acknowledge that, black women are fucked up if you're a black man. But you can also acknowledge that, there are also black men that are fucked up. And the same here. I acknowledge that there's black male fuckery, but at the same time I can also be balanced and acknowledge where we as black women are also fucked up. Beware of the messengers that run around here and they're talking one-sided all the time. You have to beware of those messengers. The one-sided message is the wounded person that has never healed. That is the person who is going around trauma bonding with you online by creating somewhat of an online cult against the opposite sex. And all of that is just counterproductive. And now, I'm looking at my children. I have daughters, and they're out here dating. They're out here engaged. One of my daughters engaged, and they're out here, trying to find their way with love. How can I lead them if I have a hatred for the opposite sex? You cannot lead anybody if you have a hatred for the opposite sex. You cannot lead women into healthy, normal relationships if you hate men. In the same way, if you as a man hate women, you cannot lead other men into healthy, normal relationships if you hate women. And Kermature says, Afrocentric, speak for yourself. I've been honorable the entire way. What's up with that, in Kermature? He didn't say anything about you. He just said that there are hypocrites on both sides. He was just acknowledging that, you know, on both sides of the coin, male and female, you're going to find hypocrites. And he's absolutely right about that. Why would you take, exception to him saying that? See, this is what I'm talking about, that one sided thing. You got to find healing within yourself first before you can, give advice or even take advice. Got to find some healing first. You got a lot of people running around here. They're packed full of, I can tell you the way to do it, but they ain't doing nothing. Matter of fact, they ain't even happy with themselves. But you show me the person that has knowledge of themselves, the person that's happy with themselves, and I'll show you a person that can tell you how to be happy in life, whether you're with someone or without someone. Happiness starts with you first. If you're a miserable person, the person that meets you is going to be miserable because you're going to spread that energy over to that person. And Kermature said, he said, we as men. What do you mean we? See, this is what I'm talking about. People, y'all get caught up on the words. Um, when he says you as men, he's talking about as a collective, but he's not talking about individuals. So we do know that there are exceptions within the collective. But for the most part, I can say we as women we can be hypocritical. Do I mean all women? No. But do I have to sit here and explain the some not all argument? No. We're grown. And this is what I'm talking about. You start playing word semantics, and then this is how these circular arguments come about. Now I was able to understand what he said in that statement without him having to break down the some not all argument. Let's see here. No hypocrite says, adding curvature, someone taking community for the ones who do not appreciate women doesn't mean they themselves are guilty, but that they are mature enough to be accountable. Exactly. Exactly. And curvature said, yeah, that's what he said. We'll say collective then. Well, I mean, regardless to how you said, I understood what he meant. It wasn't really that big a deal. that we have to break it down. You know, the way he said it the first time was very understandable. What's wrong with being distinctive and breaking it down so no one can mistake what was said? I take words, hold on a second, at face value. You have to also learn to look at context in premature. Taking words at face value without looking at the context is not a good thing. That's basic comprehension, and that's something that we learned in grammar school as children. I know I did. I don't know how they teach comprehension nowadays or how old you are, but I know back in grammar school we used to have to read sentences, and then we would read the whole paragraph, and then we would have to, how can I say, paraphrase that paragraph so that we can get the context of what was said. Context is basically comprehension. If you sit here and you take everything at face value without looking at context, then you're not fully understanding what's happening in the world around you. If everything is just so cut and dry, and everything isn't cut and dry, you have to look at context. No Hypocrite says, at imprimatur, and that's why black people are easily manipulated and lied to. The true enemies of our community are not going to use language to be direct and honest. Exactly. Exactly. Just like the whole illusion of inclusion. White people will tell you that you're accepted. White people will tell you that hey, we made these laws and now you can just go and eat any old where. Okay? But in context, what they're saying is we're just tolerating you. In context, they're really just tolerating you. They haven't really accepted you. So that's the reason why it's really important to be able to break things down into context so that you can comprehend the full meaning of what is being said and what is going on. Context is very important. No Hypocrite said, yeah, I believe them when they say we are free and equal. As I've matured and learned, this is a lie. Exactly. Context and discernment. And as you get older, your discernment will get better because you'll be wiser. You've gone through enough, you'll have enough wisdom to know exactly what it is that you're hearing versus what you're experiencing. You know, there are a lot of people that do a lot of talking, and the talking sounds real good, right? But then later on down the line, after that person then got through preaching and talking about what they do and what they don't do and what they don't think is right, they turn around and do the very thing that they just preached that they don't do. Beware of people that talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. Soon as that person get upset, they done pretty much backpedaled on everything that they taught you, and they're supposed to be the mentor. No Hypocrite says, and discernment also comes from sitting under wise people. Yes. And sometimes, when you're searching You're going to come across a lot of people that seem wise. But like I said, you'll know when a person is really wise and they're really walking the walk the way they talk the talk, because you don't just listen to what the person say. A person can say a whole lot of fly ass shit, okay? A person can say a lot of fly stuff that sounds real good, but you have to look at how are you able to implement what this person is saying in your life, and whether or not this person is living what they're saying, what they're speaking. And if you don't see evidence of either, then you be wary of that person. Not that that person may not have good insights to share, but I would be wary. And also remember that we are all human too. So advice is just that, advice. You can either take it or leave it. And everything that works for one person isn't going to work for everybody. Their situation is different than your situation. Also keep those things in mind as well. Now, one woman, she might have went through a really bad situation with a guy that was physically and mentally abusive to her, but that might not be your situation. Your situation might be that you and your guy just grew apart. Now she's angry at all men because she was actually traumatized and abused, but you're not in that same box with her because that wasn't your same experience. You both had a breakup. That's the one thing you have in common, but the experiences are different. Now, just because this person is angry and bitter because of their experience and the trauma that they've been through, they're going to try to, how can I say, get you to be just as angry and bitter towards the opposite sex as they are, when that just wasn't your experience. They're going to convince you that you're going to have the exact same experience they had if you don't do it the way that they tell you to do. And I'm here to tell you that everybody is going to have to walk their own walk in life. There are some women out here who are enjoying happy relationships with the opposite sex, with men. There are some women who are getting engaged. There are women out here who are starting families, and they're happy. And being happy is not a crime, by the way. That's the other thing that I do also notice in the sisterhood, especially when a woman is happy and she is expressing her happiness. She goes, "Oh, I'm engaged." You get a few people that'll say congratulations, but then if you wait long enough, there's always going to be that bitter person coming in talking about, "Oh, I give it a year." That they're talking negative right away. "Oh, that ain't gonna last long." That is trauma. That is hating from that trauma because you didn't get over what it was that you went through. You think every woman is going to go through the same thing that you went through. No, every woman is not going to go through the same thing that you went through. Not saying that there will not be women that go through that same thing you went through, but not every woman is going to. So I think it's wrong when we as women, especially, and I'm talking to the women right now, When we see another sister happy, she's in a celebratory mood, it's wrong to, how can I say, trample on her happiness like that. And especially when they're young. Young people, they haven't experienced a lot of hurt and a lot of trauma like some of us older people have. And that's yet another reason why a lot of men like the younger woman, because they are a little bit more hopeful. They're full of hope, they're full of optimism about life. And some of us older women, we are bitter because we've been hurt. And the optimism that we once had is gone. And so we unknowingly spread that over to the next generation in our bitter language towards the opposite sex. And I've seen men do this too. I've seen older men who were bitter and hurt, had failed marriages. They don't had different women putting child support on them. They had a really, really bad go at life. And so these things that they went through because of decisions that they made a lot of times have traumatized them and soured them towards the opposite sex. So you hear them talking to the younger generation with that bitter, I hate women tone. They ain't no good. And like I said, young men, just like young women, they are optimistic about life. But some of us old people, we can kill the optimism in young people with our bitterness because it didn't work for us. We see this young person coming along with their youth and their optimism, and we kill it. You know, some of us as older people, we can be dream killers for young people that are optimistic about life and optimistic about love. Now, when we were young and optimistic, we would fall in love and we would go through the motions of doing the things that young people in love do. But we rob the youth now because of social media and because it's out there for everybody. We put a lot of things out there now that just kind of jades the entire population, is jaded before they even get started listening to some of you. So now if a young woman is in love or a young man is in love, he's a simp. He can't publicly show his happiness for finding somebody that he gets along with. Because if he does, he's a simp. The older generation of men, the old bitter generation, is going to snuff out all of that youth and optimism in that young man. The same way the older, bitter generation of women snuffs out the youth and optimism in young women that declare that they're in love. I think it's a good thing when young people find love. It is. And knowing what I know now, I'm not too quick to talk down on young people in love. You know, when we were young in our 20s, we were not rich. And that's the other thing that us old farts forget. You know, we're older and we're settled into our careers. We have our money and our pensions and our jobs and our properties and so on and so forth. But we forget that when we were in our 20s and first starting out and in love, we were poor and we were struggling. But now, if you're poor and struggling and you find a man that's in your same age group who's also just starting out and poor and struggling, now you're the opposite of a simp. You're the starter chick. You're the starter chick. And we as old people don't take the time to look at the situation. When my husband and I were young, my husband and I are only about maybe 5 or 6 years apart. He was a little bit more established than I was, but not much. He was still young, and I was young. We were both just starting out. Both of us starting out pretty much with the same thing, hardly nothing. And that's how these young people are. Now, remember, as black people, we are not born with any silver spoons in our mouths. Hardly any of us getting anything passed down to us from the older generations. So when you start this whole you a simp, you a starter chick bullshit with these young people, you're snuffing out the hope of love. Ah, no, you don't want to be the starter chick. You don't want him coming up off of you. But what if and this is the thing that, really grabs me when we have these conversations about simps and starter chicks. What if she just realized that you and her are not compatible, and she was the adult in the situation and decided to end it and not waste any more of your time? How come we can't look at it as it being a good thing that while you're young, you guys figure it out that you don't belong together and you move on to whoever is more suited for you without having to call each other names like you simp, she just used you. No, how about the relationship just didn't work out? Nobody got used. You just outgrew each other or you weren't compatible. Or he just used you as soon as he got his promotion and everything went good for him, he left you and moved on and got this white girl or this exotic looking female and whatever type female. How about maybe he, decided that he found out what it is that he liked and he moved on. See, we don't like to hear stuff like that though, because that's too much of an adult way of looking at things. Instead, we like to just lie to ourselves that it was something else when all it probably really was. Now, I'm not saying that these situations don't happen where men use women to come up. I'm not saying that at all. But most of the time, from my experience and watching people fall in and out of love, nobody was using anybody. These people legitimately fell out of love. There was infidelity. And usually, where there's infidelity, there's somebody that doesn't want to be settled down with that person. You're not that person's cup of tea. You're not compatible with that person. Move on. But we can't never just tell each other that. It's because you was the starter chick. Or if it's a guy, it's because you was a simp. We can't never just say incompatibility. Let me see what you guys are talking about here. At faith, isn't it a catch 22 though? Some of us older people know some truths that can prevent the young people from making certain mistakes, but at the same time, sometimes it's interpreted as all are bad. Yeah, that's a catch 22. And it really just depends on what situations you're talking about. Now, if you're talking about all men are bad or all men are this or all men are that, and you're a starter chick, if you get with a guy and y'all both starting out with nothing, that's bullshit. Now, it's okay, to have that particular type of rhetoric if you're doing it as cautionary. But if you got this rhetoric and you're doing it as if, okay, this is the end all be all. If I see you in a relationship with a guy and you're like 23 and he's 26 and both of y'all ain't got nothing, oh, you're just a starter chick. Now that's the type of thing that I got to call bullshit on, because none of us in our 20s rolled up out our parents' bed with silver spoons in our mouths and fortunes. Usually your 20s are your building years, and usually you start off in your 20s with nothing until you build something up. Usually you don't really have too much until you hit 30. You're not really established until you hit 30. So that's what I take issue with. But now if you're just talking strictly cautionary with specific situations, then yeah, I can go with that, because there are certain situations where men do need to know how not to be simping. And there are certain situations where women do need to know how not to be a starter chick. So I'm not saying all of it is bad, but when your entire commentary is that 24/7, that's how it can become interpreted as we hate men 24/7, because this is all we're talking about 24/7. We don't never switch it up and talk about what it's like to be in a good productive relationship, and how good productive relationships start out. And so this is where I enter to bring some sort of balance, because you're going to get all the bad 24/7. If you log into YouTube, it is very very depressing listening to some of these people 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You hate men, they're out to get you, don't trust them, they're going to use you, they're going to make you into the starter chick. If I heard that every day, I would have a certain affinity to hate men. And see here, no hypocrite says, this is why we need to learn more than the emotion, but learn about ourselves, how to pick a good partner, communication skills, and how to be a team. Exactly. And no hypocrites also says, because we got emotional, immature people writing, speaking the narrative. It's a shame. Oh, wait, hold on. It's a shame the black community has the less qualified leading, because they are the loudest. Exactly. Exactly. Because they are able to get everybody's attention, because they are the loudest, and they say a lot of fly ass shit, and they're able to get the party jumping. No Hypocrite says, just like we allowed all this detrimental music to infect the whole world, music that is not about love and relationship, but about men disrespecting women and women being hot girls. Yeah. And we as women, we co-signed it, by the way. So let's not forget that when this detrimental music started playing in the club, a lot of us was bopping our heads to it and going out and buying it, spending our money on it. We contributed to our own defamation of character because we financed it with our money. We went to the concerts. So we are also, just as guilty as the people who were out making the music, because they wouldn't make it if it wasn't hot and if it wasn't selling. Rainy Woman says, yeah, the truth is a lot of relationships end simply because of incompatibility and no one was wrong. Exactly. No Hypocrite says at Faith, we are dollar signs behind facts. Good morning, Gia girl. Afrocentric says that's how NWA overtook Public Enemy because they were talking louder. Exactly. And we stay, supporting the people who are the loudest and the dumbest. By the way, we love that dumb shit because it gives shock quality. When NWA came out and they were cursing and they were calling women bitches and hoes, that was like shocking back in the day because nobody else was saying stuff like that, and we loved it. We ate it up, even though they wasn't really rapping about nothing but nonsense. Public Enemy was actually giving us substantive things in their lyrics and teaching the community through their music. But it wasn't shocking for us. We didn't find it entertaining. It didn't make us laugh. It didn't make us go, oh, what? It didn't have that particular reaction from us. K Day said, hey, love, faith, and beautiful mods. Yes, I do have some beautiful mods. No Hypocrite says that Faith, we want to be entertained more than we want to learn, build, and grow. Absolutely. Absolutely. Raining Woman says also we start a lot of relationships out of infatuation, having no idea what love is, starting with self love. Exactly. And here is what I've been saying from the very beginning. And I didn't quite know how to put it together because I was too busy messing around in this truck, first of all. But yeah, we start out not really knowing what love is. It's infatuation first. So everybody gets their heart broken at some point in time. Everybody breaks somebody else's heart at some point in time. That those are things that are inevitable. So if you think you're gonna float around this world and not experience heartache, you're being just a little bit unrealistic. Realistically speaking, this is what you can expect out of life. You're going to win some and you're going to lose some. But it's all in how you take things. Learn how to take things in stride. You got to know within yourself that you are enough, regardless to what happens in a relationship. So if a relationship doesn't work out, you're not really fucked up about it because you got yourself. You love you. The first relationship should always be with yourself. That's why I encourage my girls to get in a romance with themselves. Learn how to treat yourself good. Learn how to be happy with yourself first. And then anything else coming into your life is extra. So that way you don't sit up and you become sad or lonely because you're with yourself. Being with yourself should never be a bad thing. No hypocrite says love is a risk. Facts. Nobody gets to go through life without some pain. Exactly. So many black people experience so much childhood trauma by the time they reach adulthood that inner child is fighting and trying to prevent any more pain. But that's not possible. You know what? That statement in and of itself. Because there are people that have experienced real traumas. There's some of us who have been molested as children, some of us who've been beaten, emotionally torn down, and so we were never taught to love ourselves as individuals. And not having that self love leads you to look outward for it. It's not within you to love yourself. The strongest people have that inner love that keeps them going, whether they're with or without a partner. But the people that are always codependent are the people that's always looking, searching for love in another person. This individual is going to give me all the love in this world that I need. And that is the reason why you have a lot of young girls, if they can't find a man to love them, they'll go and get pregnant. And then they'll look at that baby and they'll say to themselves, this baby is going to love me unconditionally. And all you're really saying to yourself is, I can't love myself. So I need somebody else to do it. That's all you're saying. But when you can love yourself first, that's when you can love somebody else. The first person that God gives you responsibility over is you. And I feel like it's irresponsible when you neglect yourself, when you neglect to love yourself, when you neglect to tell yourself that you are important first. Because, see, if you can't take care of you and you can't love you first, you're not going to understand how to love nobody else. And you're not going to understand how to treat people, how to teach people how to treat you if you don't first know yourself and love yourself. First of all, if you don't even know yourself enough, you haven't gotten acquainted with your likes, your dislikes, your beliefs, your disbeliefs, then how are you going to communicate that to somebody else? Randy Woman says, this is why I am a strong proponent for self awareness, self love, self responsibility. Yes, exactly. And self management of emotions. Yes. Thank you, K-Day. I try. No Hypocrite says it's taken me a long journey to heal and learn to love myself. And for me, it's a daily thing. Healing takes daily work. It does. One step at a time. One step at a time. And also, depression is real because if you're a person that's going through trauma or had a lot of childhood trauma in your life, depression is real. It can come upon you. One day you can be happy, and then the next thing you know, you can go through a whole month of sadness because you're depressed because of unresolved issues that you have with yourself. And so this is baggage, by the way, guys. To me, having unresolved issues with yourself is worse than entering a relationship with an out of wedlock child. I would rather be in a relationship with a man who had a child out of wedlock, who knows himself and doesn't have any emotional baggage and knows how to love somebody else, than to be with a man who doesn't have a child, who has all this emotional baggage and he don't know how to love himself or nobody. I'm just going to be honest about that. So what we mistakenly do, these people who have unresolved issues with themselves, we call them crazy. And when you meet these people, you can tell that these people have unresolved issues with themselves because they do a lot of crazy shit that will make you think that they're crazy. A lot of times these people are not crazy. They just have that baggage that they're carrying, that emotional baggage that they have not yet learned to reconcile within themselves. And they bring it to every relationship. And so this is how you get the women saying, "Oh my God, I was with this guy and he was so crazy." We call these people crazy. And the same thing with these guys. Is there any more sane women in the world? These women are crazy. Because in our group, in our race, we do have a lot of emotionally traumatized people. They're not crazy. They are emotionally traumatized and they have not made peace with themselves. So, with them not making peace with themselves, with them not giving themselves permission to be imperfect and loving themselves regardless, they can't love nobody else. So, yeah, they're going to come across as crazy. At K Day at Faith, be having me be having me think, and I'll admit I'm passionate about humanity and the best we have to offer. So I study, read, and practice what I preach. All right, no hypocrite. That's what's up. That is exactly what it is. You have to study and always, search, seek to be self actualized first. Love yourself first and foremost. You, like I said, God gives you one life in the beginning to be responsible for, and that is yourself. And you should not be looking to bring anybody else into your life until you have first learned how to take care of the life that God gave you. Explore the person that you are. Know who you are. That way, if you know yourself, you know your likes, your dislikes, you will be able to articulate those things to the next person. And you can teach them how to love you, and you can be open to learning what their likes and their dislikes are. Because that's the other thing. In order for you to be in a successful relationship, you can't be just all about yourself. You have to be open to learning that person, and also knowing that even if you have to learn to love yourself with your flaws, you have to also know that this other person is going to have some flaws too. And you're going to have to be able to take that whole individuals, not just the good parts that you like. Like when my husband and I got married, there was a whole lot of things about my husband that I loved. I liked so much about him. My husband's so romantic. You know, he was sexy, he looked good, he kept his body up, and he was very funny and caring and just an all around good person. But then there were some things about him, that I didn't, so much like. But it was also a part of his personality. Like in the morning time, this man was not a morning person at all. And then when he would get up and get ready to go to work and everything like that, he was messy. And these are things that he did without even thinking. And no matter how much I argued with him about it and said something to him about it, he did the same thing because that just was part of his personality. He in the morning time he was not very focused. But I did notice that later on in the day he was more mindful about where he put his things. But I noted in the morning time when he's just getting moving and he's not functioning at full speed, that's where he is. And so those are parts of him that I had to accept and grow to love. There are going to be things about people that you're not going to like. And that was one part of him that I didn't like. He was cranky as hell in the morning. But I had to grow to understand him and understand what his needs were. He needed somebody in his life that was going to understand that part of him. The same way I needed him to understand that sometimes I didn't want to be bothered with people. So whereas he was this really outgoing person and he liked being around people 24/7, I was not this person that want to be around people 24/7. And so he had to accept that about me. Now I would compromise and I would, socialize and different things, but after a while it would wear on me. And so I would need, I would need an escape path. I would have to, leave. And these were things that he didn't love about me, but he learned to accept that I needed him to understand that. So, but I knew this about myself already. And so I was able to communicate that to him. And he came to me a whole person and he was able to communicate how he was to me. And so the things that we did to each other while they were annoying, we already came into the relationship knowing these things about each other and knowing that this was something that we needed to kind of, help each other with or have an understanding about. You're not going to 100% like everything about a person. Nobody is going to be 100% perfect. No hypocrite said at Faith. From what I've learned, I'm convinced that relationships are here for us to learn ourselves. So the person you bring into your life is there to help you. Exactly. And see, in the area where I was kind of introverted, I'm an introvert, and he was more, an extrovert. He did help me a little bit with that social aspect. And then whereas I am, a morning person and a neat freak, I was able to help him stay organized. So there were things that we gave to each other. You're a hypocrite too. I mean, sorry, you no hypocrite said I'm an introvert too. Yeah, an introvert does not mean that you don't socialize, by the way, guys. It just means that after a while the socialization, kind of, wears on us and we have to, go off into ourselves and we need our alone time. Let's see here. No hypocrite says, Most people are not going to have the relationship they dream of until they themselves have self actualized. Exactly. Facts. Gia Girl said, yesterday my godmother said, be happy if you're not married. She said her husband is evil. I said, it can't be that bad. You're with him. She said, it's him. Basically, she said he needed her. What? Let me read this again. Yesterday, my godmother said, be happy if you're not married. She said her husband was evil. I said, it can't be that bad. You're still with him. She said, it's him. Basically, she said he needed her. That's, I hear a lot of people that are in these dysfunctional relationships, and it's just kind of like they come up with these excuses as to why they're in these unhappy, unfulfilling, dysfunctional relationships. And then they tell you to be happy to be single. Now, they're the ones that are really wishing to escape their situation, and they're projecting that off on you. Now, if you desire to have a mate and settle down and be happy in a functional and a relationship that isn't, based in dysfunction, you're not wrong for that. Now, her projection onto you is, I wish I was single and out of this relationship. But she kind of makes an excuse to still be there because she says the person needs her. I know women like this. And these are the gloom and doom people that should definitely not be giving young people who are falling in love any type of advice whatsoever. Because these people are at odds with themselves and those dysfunctional relationships that they're in. And it's okay to be alone. I'm not, saying that she's wrong in telling you to be happy, be happily single. I tell people all the time that you can be happily single. Even if you never find a mate, if you're happy in and of yourself, you're always going to be happy whether you're with somebody or not. But when you find a mate, that is the best thing ever. Is a good thing. It's healthy. Biologically, we do seek the opposite sex because as humans, we desire how can I say, we desire that companionship in our lives. We desire it. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to be with somebody. And you're not a simp, and you're not a starter chick, you're not a fool because you simply desire to be in a good relationship. That's perfectly normal. God made us that way. We're always, as humans, going to seek companionship. Ah, good morning, Slayer of Jim. No Hypocrite says, at Faith, a lot of people give up and stay in these dysfunctional relationships. I don't feel bad for people who give up on themselves. That's a waste of my energy. Nobody can love you more than you love you. Exactly. Exactly. You hit the nail right on the head. And like I said, it's not, and once again, no hypocrites is not being apathetic when she says this, because this is exactly right. Nobody is going to feel for you more than you feel for yourself. Nobody is going to love you more than you love yourself. And I know people that live their whole lives just complaining about their situation and never doing anything about it. They are in love with having other people commiserate with them over their situation, but they are not exactly crazy about actually doing anything about it. And so she's right. They will eat up a lot of your energy complaining. These are emotional vampires, and they're all kinds. But there's a lot of them that do. They feed off of your energy with the complaining. K Day, you got a question? Slayer Jim, I see you up early today. Gia Girl says, we do desire the opposite sex, but I sometimes ponder, are people really with someone they love and are attracted to, or are they just passing the time? Some of them are just passing the time. Like I stated earlier, today, I'm with somebody that's just okay, but I don't really desire to have a relationship with this person. And he and I are both just passing time with each other. And that's perfectly fine if you're both, you know, okay with it and you're upfront about it. 'Cause me and my, significant other, we have talked about it. We're both, a little older, and I'm kind of setting my ways, and he's setting his ways. So yeah, some people are just passing time, but you have to also make sure that the person is not wasting your time. And it really depends on what, how can I say, where you are in life. Now, me, I'm in a place in life where I'm just happy to be single. I want to be by myself right now because for a long time, I've always been with somebody. I've always been taking care of somebody. And now I just want to take care of myself. I want to love on myself right now. And I don't think I'm wrong for that. Yeah, I be up early on my grind. So, you have to analyze where you are in life, what it is that you're looking for in life and in the relationship. And both parties have to agree. It's like the gentleman that I'm with, he's kind of like in the same area in life that I'm in. He's comfortable, with where he is, and he's not really looking to, settle down with anyone. And that's just where I'm at too. I want to, still, enjoy being with me for a change. See, no hypocrite says that faith, and that's another point. There are all types of relationships, situationships, entanglements. A lot of times we don't have enough details to judge. Exactly. No hypocrite says, personally, since HIV hit the scene, it turned me off to trying to find because I never want to find HIV. You and everybody else. K Day says, and Faith, you be up early. I barely can make it before my hustle. K Day, you drive trucks too? Ronnie Patterson says, Faith, be safe and wear a mask at all times. Arizona is COVID-19 infested. Oh, girl, yes, I most definitely do. Arizona ain't no joke. And California, too. I'm going in between the two states that have COVID all over the place. But not only do I wear my mask at all times, but I have my gloves. I also wear my goggles. I have goggles that I wear to protect my eyes when I go into places of business. And I definitely carry that hand sanitizer if I can't get to a sink and wash my hands. So yeah, I've been doing that because yeah, it ain't no joke. I carry my Lysol disinfectant spray, and I use the Lysol. I don't use no other type of disinfectant but Lysol. I actually order mine. But yeah, everybody be safe out here because yeah, COVID is no joke. Oh, you're a regular worker. Oh, you're trying to break into computer engineering. That's a good field. Excellent field. Ronnie Patterson says I wear a face shield in public. Yeah, now I the first thing that I ordered was the face shield, and people were calling me crazy when the COVID first hit. I had the face shield with the eye goggle and the shield to cover the whole face, the mouth, everything. Like the people that be wearing the hazmat suits be wearing. That's what I had when it first started, and everybody was looking at me like I was crazy. So yeah, I have all that stuff. But I switched for the face shield because even though COVID is bad in Arizona, people still look at you like you're crazy for wearing that face shield. So I switched to just wearing the mask and the goggles. And the goggles, go over my glasses, and people kind of take that a lot better than the whole face shield get up. But yeah, this is my morning ride, and these are some of the things that I had on my mind. Let me bump up my speed. I'm going hella slow. No wonder everybody passing me. I'm doing 65 and then 75 miles on at 4 a.m. Nobody out. Bump up the speed. No hypocrites. You carry the Clorox wipes. Me too. That's what I be wiping my truck down with. I spray with the Lysol, and then I have the Clorox wipes. Then I go behind and wipe down with that. Rainy woman, have a wonderful day. Thank you for stopping by. You know what? My daughter and I, we were sitting up last night. I don't even know how I got the energy to get up and come to work this morning, but I was a little late this morning because we were up until 10 p.m. doing our nails. I got this nail kit in the mail that's called polygel fiberglass nails or whatever because I'm trying to learn how to do my own nails, not just for the COVID, but I had been wanting to stop going to the Asians to get my nails done, and there's not a lot of sisters out here in Arizona that do nails. So I've been learning how to do the poly gel, and I'm getting better and better at it. I bought a lot of salon type tools, like I got the UV lamp for the gel nails, and I got the electric what do you call that? The electric filer. Yeah, the electric filer. I bought that. So I bought a whole bunch of little tools, that's kind of like the same tools that they have at the salon to do my nails with. And I've been getting pretty good with it actually. Oh, okay. No Hypocrite said it started in February, but got delayed because of COVID, but it's like 3 months per certification. Oh, that's not bad. Okay, day UODC, huh? Absolutely, we definitely are. But yeah, like I said, I didn't have a topic today. Normally, my morning rides are just me, talking about things off the top of my head and just, kicking it with you guys out there. Those of you that actually get up this early in the morning to kick it with me. And actually, there's a lot of new names in here. So, I'm so thankful for all the people that come in here. No Hypocrites, K Day. Who else is Raining Room Man came in? Ronnie Patterson. All the people that came in to support definitely appreciate you. And a couple of men came in here too. Gia Girl is my regular. Afrocentric, Ronnie Patterson. So to all the people that came in, I really appreciate you guys being here. What's up, Mahogany Roots and MJ? And yes, please hit the like button, everybody, because that does keep me on top. But anyway, what do you guys want to talk about? I got time, y'all. What's up, Mahogany Roots? Yeah, K Day, I am a little nervous about Arizona. I don't do nothing really. Like me and my daughter, we just went out. We went to the mall and did a little walking around. But even in going to the mall, we keep our face mask on, wear our gloves, goggled up and everything. And everywhere we go, we're washing our hands and hitting that hand sanitizer, and then getting back in the car, do some more hand sanitizer and spraying and disinfecting stuff. So yeah, I am nervous about Arizona. No Hypocrite says, I love the conversation at Faith. I don't know how often I can be up this early though. No, it's understandable. Like my morning rides are basically just me, no topics or anything like that. Normally I have topics on my off day, like on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesdays. I might have panels or topics, that I do, or pre-recorded videos that I'll drop on those days. I didn't do it this time around because I was spending more time with my family. What's up, Q Savage? But yeah, I've been on here for 2 hours, guys. Normally I cut it off at the 1 hour mark. But this was a very good conversation. I mean, we covered quite a bit of ground as far as, talking about the relationship things, self love, identifying people that are speaking from trauma versus a person who's actually speaking from knowledge. And you definitely know when a person is giving you advice from their trauma because they haven't gotten over it. They're angry, and their language is usually angry all the time. Like majority of the time, that's what they're talking about. They don't have a optimistic outlook on life when it comes to the opposite sex. These are people that you need to be aware of getting any type of relationship dating advice from because they don't have that optimistic outlook on life, and that is going to come out in their message. And they don't have the ability to be balanced when talking about the opposite sex. That's another red flag that you look for. Ronnie Patterson says, why doesn't Jill Scott get lap band surgery? What is lap band surgery? What are you all talking about? What's up, Sister George? Uh-oh, Sister George in the house. She must have caught me as she getting up ready for her grand. Thank you, Gia girl. I try. Gia girl says, I wanted to say your live chats have no arguing and chaos like many other ones do. I try. I really don't like a lot of that chaos in my space. So I typically don't even attract that here. Oh, somebody was talking about why are they critical of Jill Scott? These men spaces, they snoop about black women's makeup. Oh yeah, yeah. That you know what? K Day, that's going to be forever and a day. It's always going to be about our makeup, our weave, our weight. Those are the three things that black men are always going to have an issue with: weight, hair, makeup, in that order. And the funny thing to me is going back to Water Sniper, because he has been very positive and posting about black love all this time. And he just recently posted quite a few marriage proposals of black men getting down on one knee and proposing to black women that have all these things. Some of them were overweight, some of them had weave, some of them was wearing a lot of makeup. So these are things that, have not stopped these women from finding love and being proposed to. So, I don't pay attention to the black men on social media at all. Because in the real world, as Water Sniper has eloquently displayed on his channel with all the proposals that I've seen him posting on his channel, there are black women from every walk of life that look all different types of ways getting proposed to. And he posts a different one every day. It really it amazes me and it inspires me as well. No Hypocrite says, at faith, real men are not worried about weight, hair, and makeup. Exactly. Exactly. No Hypocrites. You hit the on the bullseye. That's something that they're not really concerned with. These guys online, they just use it as talking points to tear away at your self esteem. It kind of makes them feel better. That's just kind of like Mister. You're black, you're ugly, don't nobody want you, that type of thing. The guys that do that, that's what they're on. They're just on, to try to, to tear down the self esteem of a woman because they've experienced some type of trauma. Let's see here. Kevin Samuel takes issue with Michelle Obama, saying she needed to stay in the background. Really? Why would he take issue with that? See, these guys don't know what they want. One minute they want to lead, then the next minute, when the woman stays in the background and lets you lead, then they got an issue with you letting them lead. Once again, these guys on YouTube, don't listen to them. They're confused. Gia Girl said mixing it up is one thing, but there is downright arguments, and I understand people do what they want, but the discord, yeah, I don't like the discord either. Kevin Samuels is leading young women into being with half-stepping old men. I can believe it. That's the mantra that's going on, and this is I said this early on when I came back and started doing videos. There's this campaign of older men telling the younger generation of men to get their passports and leave. Okay, so this is the first thing that I noticed the older men doing. Then while they're telling the younger men to get their passports and leave, they're sitting up here telling the young women that's here to start dating they old ass. And I've been peeped this and I've been pointed it out that these old men are trying to get the young men out the way so that they can have access to the younger women in their generation. These old men are dipping into the younger men's dating pool, and they're giving them bad information on purpose to get them out of the way. I've been said this. Yes, exactly, Ronnie Patterson. He's speaking from his own pain. And I'm going to be honest with you. We are a nation of people who are very poor. Okay? And we do have some young women that will get with an old sugar daddy because they need money. And they feel like this is the only way that they can get it, the best way they can get it. So they look at these old men as old licks. Now these younger men are giving these older men a run for their money because now more than ever, these younger men, they're not really going to jail like that anymore. These younger men are learning trades. So now, just as these older men have money, now these younger men also are starting to have money. And they're giving a lot of these older men a run for their money. So this is where you get the older men with their old, decrepit, jealous asses telling these young men to get their passports because they're trying to ship them off so they can have all the young women to themselves. I'm just going to be honest and tell you what that shit is right there. And there are a lot of young fools falling for it. It's the older men online talking about American black women ain't shit, and they're preaching this to the younger men. But meanwhile, guess who the old man is with? Guess who the old man is with? Tell me if I'm lying. These old geezers is out here lying to these younger men so they can get all the young women for themselves. Oh, y'all down here talking about hot ass breath. K Day over here talking about her cougar days and the young guys she done knocked off. Why y'all is in here doing so much? No Hypocrite says so many black girls are raised to love men more than themselves. Yes. And that right there is it right there. That's it in a nutshell. Gia Girl said, older man, if he's sexy and financially stable and his breath doesn't smell and he doesn't have erectile dysfunction. Well, I'm going to tell you, Gia Girl, the way that these guys take care of themselves these days, a lot of them, I put it like this, they start to hit the wall when they like 40. Some of them in their late 30s. Because these guys run their bodies down into the ground. And like I said in my last video, these guys don't think that they can actually wear themselves out, but they can. These guys are out here hitting everything raw. Now, if you done had, let me see, I'm gonna just say everybody start having sex at 20. If you done had 2.5 decades of just hitting everything raw, and your penis then had 2.5 decades of getting venereal diseases and STDs and all this type of stuff, and fighting that stuff off, if you done had to fight off chlamydia 20, 30 times because you done went with different women and you done got the HPV and all this other stuff, your penis and had to fight off all this shit over the last 2.5 decades of you screwing. Do you think that this is not going to have an effect on your poor little penis? See, men do not know that they can wear themselves out. Your poor little penis fighting off all these STDs is wearing your penis out. That number one. And then these guys don't have a good diet. They're sitting up here eating whatever they want. They don't get the proper vitamins. They don't have the proper vegetables in their diet. They're sitting up here losing testosterone. There was an article that talked about the low testosterone levels in this country. Losing testosterone at early ages. And last but not least, these guys sitting up here lacing that weed up with all this other stuff, and they don't know what it is they're putting in their body. They sipping on syrup, they popping pills, they drinking alcohol like it's water, drinking like they fishes in the ocean. And then they don't think that they're not wearing their bodies down. So until our black men, because the large collective of them, they're not taking care of themselves. I'm just gonna be honest. These fools are out here not taking care of themselves, and it is fly for them to be walking around getting drunk every weekend. They think that is the thing. They not living life until they getting drunk every weekend, and they don't think this is having an effect on that area. No Hypocrite says the diet is huge. It dictates the taste. That's why I will not be using my mouth on poor diet penises. Sorry, not sorry. Oh, but you're so right about that. You are so right about that. Don't ask me how I know, but you are right about that. Yeah, Kevin Samuels, I peeped his channel a couple of times. He called himself giving the advice to the ladies, but his advice is very destructive. He does not give constructive criticism to build you up. His is very destructive. When you leave his channel, you will definitely feel torn down. And so therefore I can't listen to his stuff that much because I like to deal with positivity. Now, I'm the type of person where I'm very self-aware. I'm very into what is going on now. I don't bury my head under a bush or whatever. and have delusions, So a lot of guys will say, "Oh, you don't listen to Kevin Samuel because you want to stay delusional about your situation." Blah blah blah. No, that's not it at all. I'm very self-aware. But if you interject a lot of Kevin's content into your psyche on a regular basis, because like I said, he does nothing to build you up. Nothing. I listened to about 3 or 4 videos, and it was just all negative, 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 negative. You cannot construct anything out of negativity. And he's another one of those content creators that have a hidden agenda, which he does not like women at all. So his hidden agenda is not to help you, but he's trying to get back at you for the women that hurt him. Oh, you're welcome, K Day. Oh yeah, they're running the young men off, okay? Intros. Oh, Sister George says that she's doing a show today at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And they go live every Wednesday on the breakdown a woman's perspective on her channel that she has with Concrete Rose. And on Sunday, maybe a show in between. Okay. Good looking out, Sister George. And if you want to, drop the link to your channel in the chat in case anyone doesn't know about Sister George's channel. Because it is a hot channel. I go there all the time and troll. Afrocentric says, and no hypocrites, I don't think men collectively have found self love because so many men have to brag about money, women, possessions, etc. Exactly. And like I said, when you're looking to find validation within outside of yourself with things and not, what you have actually accomplished within yourself, then yeah, you have not actually found self love. You're still looking outward. Ooh, I'm getting cold. Turn this air off. If it's a money grab in black YouTube to diss black women, YouTube allows it a lot of money in destroying us. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is the biggest money bag in black YouTube. Speaking down on black women. And so that's the reason why the gender war will always, always be going strong. Yeah, you have channels like mine where we try to be a little balanced with it. But my channel will never take off because I'm not, trying to keep up the gender war. Now, if I were to change my message more to negativity towards the opposite sex and bashing on black men all day long, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, oh, it'll be popping up in here. Ooh, a lot of dudes don't even know how to properly clean their stuff. Ugh, that's disgusting. But you know what? You would know if a guy is unsanitary because there's a smell. They always have that smell down there. I don't know how to describe that smell. It's kind of like a moldy smell or hot butter or something. You know the smell. If it don't pass a sniff test, I don't go. Hold on a second. Gia Girl says, I think Johnson and Johnson TV commercials about Summer's Eve and others have led men to believe us women need to take better care of ourselves more so than men. But no, men need to wash their stuff. Oh yeah, most definitely. But men don't have the wash your penis commercials. But women, we have the clean the inside of your vagina commercials. You're right about that. Absolutely. At Faith, did you see the show where the black male, about 25 years old, went to the doctor because he couldn't pull his skin back anymore due to the buildup of crust? Ugh. Oh my God. No. Ah, that visual is disgusting. How can you? That means that he just sat up here and just literally didn't wash his behind and he allowed crust. Oh, yuck. Oh my gosh, disgusting. Men don't care about their odor. They only care if we smell down there. Yeah, but they do smell. They get an odor too. Very musty. They are hypocrites. Oh, thank you, no hypocrites. Yes, please subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. But yeah, if a man is not keeping up his diet, he's not keeping up his body, he's out there drinking, doing all types of drugs and all this, that, and the other. Yeah, that dude he's ran through. Men can be ran through too. And don't let them sit up here and tell you that they can't be ran through. They definitely can. And a lot of these guys sit up here and they try to use that old stat that the statistics say that black men we wear condoms. I want to get a recount on that because I think that's a lie. I demand a recount on that statistic right there. But like I said, it really depends on how they came about getting the information. A lot of times, people that takes these opinion surveys, and that's what that is. The do you wear condoms? That is an opinion survey. I don't trust opinion surveys because people can lie on opinion surveys. Because how can they know beyond a shadow of a doubt if these guys are actually wearing condoms? Most of the guys that I've come across, I have to beg them to use the condom. They Black men love going raw. They do. That's the reason why so many of them are single fathers. Oh yeah, I got the stats on that too. Y'all got to go back a few videos to get that. Yeah, the CDC finally got the fatherhood stats. And even though they came up with about 37% of them are, once again they said that information may not even be valid because 40% of black women don't really put who the father is on the birth certificate, and they rely primarily on data from birth certificates. So CDC has been trying to get the fatherhood stats, the accurate count, accurate information. They're getting better and better with it every year. But each and every year, they're debunking that 20% lie that these men are putting out here. There's way more of them that are single fathers than they've been letting on and lying about over the years. Now that's the only time I start gender warring. I start gender warring when these guys come out here with these fake statistics and telling black women anything and just outright lying. That's when I put my gender warring armor on and I start going for it. Because I am totally against black men just saying anything to black women and using the statistics and putting out inaccurate information. to make themselves look good and make black women look bad. That's what pisses me off. If y'all want to know, at Faith, the young girl and another old woman called me a mammy because I don't want a gender war. Yeah, I can believe it. I can believe it. I care about my sisters and people ask and equally and real black men for our family and communities. Exactly. And you have a balanced perspective. That's what it's really supposed to be about, community. And there cannot be a community with just black women. There cannot be community with just black men. There are black men and black women and some old people and children in between. But we only act like there's only young black men and young black women and old black men that matter. Because once again, old black women don't matter. Only the old cruddy ass black men think they matter. And young women ain't really checking for them like that either, except for maybe a paycheck. But while we're sitting up here, y'all in this chat room, I'm laughing my ass off. But I want to go a different direction, Slayer Jim, because I noticed you want to get back on Kevin Samuels, but I'm not going to talk about other content creators like that. Kevin Samuels is who he is, but like I said, I don't pay too much credence to what he talks about because I know what he's on. I've seen that dog and pony show before. But I tell young women all the time too, because somebody made a comment in the chat that black women are made to care more about men than we care about ourselves. And that is so true. So true. And I want to go back to that point because I was thinking about something that my mother had told me when I had first started dating and, looking into getting in, relationships and falling in love and all that type of stuff. And I was living, on my own for a little bit. Didn't last long because I married when I was young. But I remember her telling me, she said, now, Faith, I taught you how to, do the things that women are supposed to do to take care of a man. But she said, you also have to take care of yourself. And you also have to recognize when a man is using you to take care of him. And she was saying, I'm not just talking about monetarily, but she was saying that these men will sit up here and they will date you and they will have you doing things like you're their wife and you're nothing but the girlfriend. And my mom was the first one that had that, wife duties over girlfriend duties talk with me a long time ago. And then she also told me that any man that loves you and cares about you, they're not going to exploit you for being a good woman. And she gave me an example. She was talking about how when she cleans the house up, she said, my father, he does not take for granted that she likes to keep the house clean. So he comes in and he's very mindful that she have cleaned the house. He doesn't make a lot of mess for her to constantly have to clean up. My father also cleans up behind himself. He doesn't purposely make mess because he thinks she's the woman and she's going to clean it up anyway. She said, when a man does that, he doesn't have any respect for you. She said, this is a grown ass man. If he doesn't know how to clean up behind himself and he's looking to you to always clean up behind him like he is a child, that is a sign of disrespect. And my mother was the first person to teach me that. So ladies, you can be these neat freaks, you can be this woman that loves to clean and all this type of stuff. But here's the thing. Oh yeah, my mom was a good mom. She gave me some real good advice. If you are with a man that exploits that part of you, and by him, when I say exploit, he knows that you like to keep things clean. So he jumps out the bed in the morning. You get out the bed first, but you can't make the bed because he's still in it. If he's not the type of man that when he gets out that bed, he turns around and makes that bed back up because he was the last one out, then he's exploiting you. He's taking for granted that you're going to do it every time. So he's never going to do it. And the same way that you use the toilet and the shower and the tub is the same way that he uses the toilet and the shower and the tub. And if he can never find any time to also clean the toilet and the shower and the tub that he also uses, he's exploiting you. My mother taught me this a long time ago. My mother taught me that all grown people should know how to clean up behind themselves. And I will submit to you today that there are some men that are just quite filthy. Let's just be honest. They are filthy. They were filthy before you met them. My mom said she would have never married my father if he was a filthy man. Because men who have filthy habits, they will keep you running, cleaning up behind them like their children. And see, I had never thought about that because my grandmother was a different type of woman. My grandmother was different than my mom. She always cleaned up behind men. She just thought that that was the woman's thing to do, clean up behind men. My mother was totally different. She was like every grown person should know how to clean up behind themselves. It makes keeping the house clean a lot easier. And she's absolutely right about that. And so when I started dating, I started taking note of men who had filthy habits. When I would go over to a guy's house, if we got to the point where we were going to each other's house, I would take note of how he kept his bathroom. If his bathroom was dirty, if he had clothes everywhere, if he kept his apartment dirty, I would not be bothered with that man because I know how I am. I like my stuff clean. I like my stuff organized. And if he a filthy man and he don't know how to clean up behind himself, his bathroom mirror dirty, he got rings in his tub, rings in his toilet, he's filthy. Gia girl said that's just nasty not to clean up behind yourself in the bathroom. Exactly. But there are some men that will say that that's your job. Now, mind you, they have been filthy their whole lives. And so now they get with you seeing how clean you are, thinking that you are going to clean up behind him forever like he is a child. I'm just reading the comments here. Ronnie says on an episode of Sex in the City, Charlotte wouldn't deal with a guy until he got circumcised. Oh, y'all still on the circumcision? Oh God, I don't remember the last time I watched Sex in the City, but that was a good show. But yeah, ladies, be careful of what type of man that you're out here dating. The same way that they care about what type of housekeeper you are, you should also care about what type of housekeeper he is. And beware of the men that will exploit you because you are a woman and they feel like it is your job to clean up after them. They will have you running like that for your entire life. They will be filthy and dirty your entire life of dealing with them. I had a boyfriend like that. I and the relationship did not last no time, y'all. By the way, it didn't last no time because, like I said, my mother had to talk to me about what a girlfriend does versus what a wife does. And I remember I used to go over to his house, and his house would be filthy all the time. And I questioned him about it one time. I was like, "Why don't you clean up your place?" And he told me, "Well, that's what I have you for. That's why you're my girlfriend." That's what he said. That's what you have me for. Um, After that statement, I was out, y'all. I was out. No, I'm not gonna be your girlfriend coming over to your house, picking your clothes up off the floor, doing your laundry, scrubbing your toilet, and all this type of stuff like I'm the damn maid. But some of these guys, that is their expectation. They are filthy. Oh yeah, yes he did. K Day, yes he did. They are filthy, and they expect you to clean up after them. What's up? I'm Allison in Wonderland. K Day said most military men are tight about their household and cleaning habits. Yeah, but the military will do that for you. Good morning, Sheila E. Oh, no hypocrites, yes. And you can tell how he treats his car. If the man car is dirty, the same thing they say about you as a woman. If his car dirty, he a dirty motherfucker. He's a dirty motherfucker. I can't be in no dirty car either. Okay, Sheila E., you have a blessed day as well. No hypocrite says a lot of these guys want mother 2.0 for girlfriends. Exactly. Exactly. They want you to baby them like their mothers did. Gia Girl says my mom's second husband didn't clean up after himself, and he would say a woman does that, and he wasn't a financial provider to her either. Exactly, and you hit the nail right on here. Sometimes these guys they want a traditional woman, but they are not a traditional man. Just like Gia Girl just said, her mother's second husband didn't take care of her financially, but he want a traditional wife that cleaned up behind his filthy behind. Make that make sense. Makes no sense at all. So yeah, you definitely that is a form of abuse, by the way, and that's a form of abuse that a lot of times we kind of gloss over because we feel like we're women, we're ladies, that this is what we're supposed to do. But no, God did not put you on this earth to run around cleaning up behind another grown ass person. Now I can understand, that person, was in a hurry, or they're sick or something like that. But just a person walking around all day making mess and not cleaning up behind themselves and expecting you to do it because you're a woman, that is a form of abuse. K said he would have had to go. No finances, no babies, or living with you, or love from me, period. Going 50-50. Exactly. And that 50-50 is a form of bullshit too. But now I can see the 50-50 when you're first starting out, when you're young, because you both ain't got nothing, and it does take two incomes. But he should be working towards taking that other 50 off of you. And if he's not talking about that or working towards that, then he ain't about nothing. Well, let's see, guys. We going on the third hour here. We done talked about every aspect of relationships under the sun. And I love these conversations. You guys are the best chat room ever, by the way. The best. And y'all get up so early to support me. I really appreciate you all. Sister George, K Day, Sheila E, stop by. Shout out to all my people that stopped by to support me today. I'm Allison in Wonderland. All the new people that I saw coming in, I shouted out everybody else earlier. So if you don't hear your name, it's not because I have not recognized you. It's because I recognized you earlier. But I think it's time for me to go ahead and shut it down, y'all. It's about 3 hours in. I'm getting ready to head into these hills and cross over into California. The sun is also about to come up. You guys have successfully gotten me through half of my shift. So I want to say thank you. All right, ladies. Peace out.